I slept with old women. Yes, I said it. I'm not proud of it, but I slept with old women. Hey, welcome back to the channel. My name is Source of Food, and if you're happening on this channel for the first time, this is where we talk about childhood memories. At least I talk about my childhood memories. Memories as they were back in the 60s when I was born. I was born in the early 60s. So memories from that period going into the 70s and maybe touching the 80s a little bit. All right? Yeah, so this is where we kind of, sit back and reminisce and talk about the good old days. Maybe the not so good old days. All right, so here's the topic I want to talk about today. Now, back when I was growing up, a lot of people, especially those who were born in the 40s, from what I understand, migrated to different parts of the world, right? Many of them left because they were in search of a better life. Many of those individuals who were born around, the 40s, maybe in the 50s a little bit, a lot of them migrated, and many of them moved to places like the United Kingdom, specifically England. Some moved to, or should I say, many moved to the United States. Some would have migrated to Canada. But generally speaking, a lot of them went to England, right? So in my little village where, I grew up, there were kids there, some of them older than, a bit older than me, who barely knew their parents because their parents left home in search of a better life. After they were born, their parents left to places like England, especially England, and many of them, up to when I was 20, never returned to Jamaica. Never returned. I can recall at a couple of kids who barely knew their biological parents, right? So in my little village, where I grew up in Manchester, rural Jamaica, most of the child raising or whatever, we say, most of the child rearing or the child raising were done by grandparents, right? Because those grandparents, their sons and daughters left the community, like I said, to look for life, to search for good life elsewhere. So, in my little village, there were a lot of, should I say a lot? But there were quite a few old, elderly, I'm going to use the word elderly people, and specifically women. Some of them, for whatever reason, never had any grandchildren, or their grandchildren also left the community, maybe to join their parents, wherever their parents were living then. So they were living at home by themselves, right? So, as elderly people, it was not an ideal situation for them to be at home by themselves, with no one to assist them. Not that they were incapable of doing, the daily stuff like cooking and that kind of stuff and taking care of themselves. But especially at night, if there was an emergency, they had no one to call to or to help, to ask for help, to do whatever to assist them. So I don't know what happened, man, but I became the kid. I became that little kid that my grandparents would send to some of these homes. I remember this lady was living behind me up on a hill behind my house, right? She was living alone because her kids and her grandchildren, they left, right? There was another one who was living not far from the house too, just like 5 minutes walk away. She also never had anybody at home with her at one point. Okay, so I became that kid that my grandparents would send to go sleep with these old women. Back home we would use the term to keep their company, right? So yeah, I was a kid that my grandparents would send to go sleep, sleep over with these old women at night, just so that if there's any kind of emergency or whatever, they would have someone to assist them during the night. And man, I did not like it. I did not like it. You're going inside some of these old people's house and them place smells so. Anyway, I don't want to go there. Yeah, so I was a guy who was sent to sleep with these old women, man. I can recall while I was at that stage of my life, maybe I was about 5, 6. No, not so old. I couldn't be so old. I couldn't be so old then, because I was still not potty trained, right? Still not potty trained. I was still wetting bed, and I went to sleep with this lady one night. I was sent to sleep with her. The lady and I were sleeping in the same bed, and I wet the bed. And I can recall, man, that lady chased me out of the bed. Chased me out of the bed that one morning, man. Oh my goodness, I was so embarrassed. That's a childhood memory that comes back to mind from time to time. Yeah, I was a kid who was sent to sleep with these old women who never had anybody, to help them or to support them, especially at night, right? Oh, jeez. I don't even want to think about some of those days. What were some of your... Did you ever have to do anything like that? Did you grow up in a community where, you have all these old people, their children, their biological children left and they're living abroad. Their grandchildren might have left to join their parents abroad. And so they were left at home with, by themselves. And you might have been the person who had to go sleep with some of these old people. Sometimes in my case, sleeping in the same bedroom with these old women. Tell me about it. I'm sure my grandmother had, she sent me in good faith. I was a little kid then, and I know I know the reason why she did it, but wow, man. Anyway, if you have had any similar experiences, tell me about it. Leave a comment in the comment section below. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up. If you like the channel, the stuff we talk about on this channel, subscribe to the channel. All right, my name is Source of Food. The channel is called Memory Lane, and take care of yourself. We have a lot to talk about. So until we meet again, take care. All right, be well.